second National Cleaning Day scheduled for August 29th.
So that someone can put on the mask as in not to get the airborne disease.
Also coming up, health experts warn that many more men could be silently living with prostate cancer, unaware of their condition until it is too late.
When you do not treat them psychologically first, they will not come to the facilities.
And residents and rescue workers continue to search through rubble in Guinea's capital after a landslide at a landfill killed more than 30 people. Good afternoon. Welcome to NTV at 1. I am Priscilla Regina Naruoga. Government has been urged to roll out capacity building initiatives at the village level to educate residents on how best to maintain good health ahead of the second National Cleaning Day scheduled for August 29th. While handing out cleaning materials to residents in Bulenga, Wakiso district, leaders of Medi Foundation, a non-governmental organization, raised concerns about the lack of protective gear to prevent disease transmission, as well as the shortage of tools required for the cleaning exercise. The National Cleaning Day is a mandatory nationwide sanitation program held on the last Saturday of every month from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Juliet Naruoga with the details.
We've given out the masks so that someone can put on the mask as in not to get the airborne disease. And another thing are gloves. Gloves, most people don't have them. And some of them, they hesitate, not sweeping, not cleaning, because they see the environment is bad. But when they have those gloves, they are very secure, they have self-protection.
Last time people were collecting garbage and they were leaving everything on the roads. This one damages the road, and also this garbage was going in the channels. So we are giving out these things early enough so that people prepare themselves. When you are cleaning, you need these gloves.
Sanitation to another pressing health concern. We get to look at the burden of having prostate cancer in the Busoga sub-region that is coming into a stronger focus, with more than 100 men already registered for screening and treatment in Iganga district alone. Among them is former Iganga Municipality Mayor Siraje Katono, who is battling the disease. Health experts are warning that many more men could be silently living with prostate cancer, unaware of their condition until it is too late. Here is more.
Is the most region that has prostate enlargement. A lot of symptoms can look alike. For example, frequency urination. Frequency urination is when a prostate now has started enlarging, and now the bladder has lost its support. Now what do? You start urinating all the time. And when they go to all the facilities, health facilities, they will start checking diabetes first because they have the same symptoms. So prostate enlargement, it is unaware that each and every man should test because they are men and they've been silent for a long time. There is a disease called a prostate enlargement, and we heal it. It is reversible, it is healable, and they can come for the our attention. You know, healing starts from the head. When you do not treat them psychologically first, they will not come to the facility. So we go deep in village to see how we can bring them to the body.
Prostate has become a problem, a very big problem to this nation, to the extent that wherever you go for treatment, they will tell you that let's try. If we fail, we shall be going for operations.
Meanwhile, efforts to improve the well-being of Ugandans are also focusing on education, with members of the academic community at Makerere University launching a campaign to distribute more than 1 million books to government-aided primary and secondary schools. This is across the country with the aim of tackling illiteracy. According to the World Bank research, Uganda's Human Capital Index is standing at a low of 0.39, which is attributed in part to limited access to education and the poor quality of education in rural areas. Rachel Nabisubi compiled this report.
Every day I ask my students, both at the master's level and the bachelor's level, why are you pursuing this course? The answers are alarming. Many of them do not know. So I'm asking myself and I'm asking you, what we learn, does it feed us to get to know ourselves? What we learn, does it feed us to help us think about the ordinary norm?
On average, 1.7 million kids enter primary one every single year. Every single year, 1.7 million kids are enrolled in primary one. But out of those 1.7 kids, after 7 years, we only get 850 kids that we hear in the national news that finished P7. I hope you agree with me on that. So what happens to the 1.2 million kids? They go out of school. So now that is, if that's not alarming, that's actually a disaster. Because if 1.2 or 1.3 million kids, they fail to graduate up to P7. So to a nation, that's a disaster.
Remember, we are not just going to distribute the books and dump them in schools across Uganda and walk away. We need to have facilitators like he talked about, people who are going to go across the country to train the teachers, to train the trainers of traders, to train the children and all the other things that he talked about. All these will need funds. And when you look at the first phase, it will require us to have about 4.1 billion.
Attention is also turning to how public resources are being managed. A major push is underway to re-strategize local government funding and curb corruption ahead of the new budget cycle. National planners, local leaders, civil society organizations, and cabinet ministers spent much of last week in mandatory discussions aimed at ensuring that funds allocated for local services are actually used for their intended purpose.
In this meeting, therefore, we listen to what the local governments want and what the ministries can afford. So without these negotiations, we would not be able to effectively comply with the provisions of the Constitution, and many local governments would leave thinking that they have been shortchanged.
Bottom-up planning is therefore not merely a local government planning technique. It is a principle of citizen-centered governance. The guiding question should be, are the priorities we are funding the priorities that matter most to the citizens we serve? I many times tell people that if, for example, we were funding the real needs of the people, we wouldn't be having famine in Karamoja.
So whatever we do, we must therefore stop treating the fight against corruption as Bangara's fight or anybody's fight. It's not Mosai's fight, it's not anyone's fight, it's a fight for Uganda. So my appeal to you, the representative of both groups, let us join the fight, let us support compliance, let us support law enforcement agenda. It is fundamental to service delivery again.
In business news this afternoon, regional trade patterns are also shifting, with Tanzania strengthening its position in the East African market by overtaking Uganda as Kenya's second largest informal trading partner. A stronger demand for food and household goods drive a surge in cross-border commerce. Kenya's informal trade with Tanzania rose 62% to about $1.28 million in June 2025 from $786,000. This is as of December 2024, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Now, Tanzanian imports more than doubled to nearly $9,975,000. This is leading with rice, sugar, maize, goats, cattle, while informal trade with Uganda fell about $915,000. Now, this shift is highlighting Tanzania's growing role in supplying Kenya's food market and comes as regional trade patterns continue to change. And while East Africa is seeing trade relationships shifting, a similar challenge is unfolding on a much larger scale in North America. The United States and Canada are entering a new phase of trade tensions after Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney suspended talks with President Donald Trump's administration and chose to retaliate against the new U.S. tariffs. Carney said Washington made excessive last-minute demands while offering too little in return, accusing the U.S. of a power play that derailed a deal that had a peace clause. Now, the decision does put pressure on the Canadian government to manage the economic impact of the tariffs while convincing businesses and consumers that standing firm could deliver better terms in the long run. And as trade tensions do reshape markets, the automotive industry is also facing growing regulatory pressure, particularly in China. China has launched its largest ever vehicle recall, affecting more than 4 million cars, including 2.9 million Chinese-made Teslas, over safety concerns surrounding the hidden electric door handles. Tesla's affected models do include the Model 3, Model Y, Model S, and the Model X, alongside vehicles from Xiaomi, Xpeng, and Geely. Now, the handles can be difficult to locate or operate during emergencies, particularly when vehicles lose low voltage power. The issue also drew further scrutiny following fatal crashes in China, in which power failures were suspected of preventing occupants from opening vehicle doors. Now, this recall does highlight the growing safety and regulatory challenges facing electric vehicle manufacturers as the industry expands rapidly and technology increasingly shapes vehicle design. We'll take a short break, but NTV at 1 continues shortly. Do stay with us.
Entrance there and their exit there. What is it?
So where is the building?
Fast, stress-free construction. Get your factory-made buildings in 12 weeks with SafBuild. Order yours now. SafBuild, a quality building solution from Uganda Bati.
Mami! I want everything, eh? Yes. So, when I pay the time, this will increase my loan limits. Madam, remove the food. Put more meat. Add the meat. Yes. Now, these are the fruits of paying your loan is in time.
That's right. Every time you repay your Momo loan on time, your loan limit can increase, giving you access to more money when you need it most. Dial *165*5# to borrow, pay back, and grow your limit with Momo loans.
You have juice? Yes. Juice in me.
Every Monday at 10 p.m.
I'm the champ. You want to come get it?
Watch the latest on local and international sports news and analysis. We never stop giving you more. Every Monday, 10 p.m. on NTV Spotlights.
Oh, nice pass, Kaluma. De Pruto has settled for the bronze.
Only gets better. Every Monday at 10 p.m. on NTV Spotlights.
At 18 minutes past 1 o'clock, we turn to the energy sector. Uganda's fast oil production has been delayed further, with the war in the Middle East disrupting the delivery of key equipment needed for the oil project. The executive director of the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, Ernest Rubondo, says some of the delayed equipment has, however, started arriving in the country, although the government is yet to announce a new date for fast oil.
Uganda's oil production roadmap has experienced several shifts in timelines, with fast oil previously projected for 2018, then 2020, 2025, and most recently July 31st, 2026. However, the latest target has also not been achieved. The executive director of the Petroleum Authority of Uganda says most of the work is progressing as planned, but the delivery of critical equipment has been affected by disruptions to supply chain following the war in the Middle East.
Just minor delays arising from the arrival of equipment. A lot of the equipment was being received from the Middle East, and a lot of it had been loaded on ports in the United Arab Emirates. And as you are aware, when the war broke out, this equipment could now not come.
The authority says measures have since been put in place to address the delays, and some equipment has already arrived in the country.
Some of the equipment which was loaded on ships had to be offloaded in the shops, in the ports that had been bombarded. It was loaded on trucks, and it was moved on ports that didn't have war going on. Mainly they moved it to the port of Oman. Total has gone ahead to contract ships, just specifically put that equipment on. So that equipment is beginning to arrive in the country now, and we expect that by the end of September, all the equipment should have arrived, or latest during October.
Government is yet to announce a new date.
Key parts that had not arrived were those very technical and instrumental parts for the metering system and for the electrical instrumentation and telecommunication system. These are parts, they are like the heart of the project where you monitor. So those equipments are also now beginning to come in, and those parts of the project should be completed. And, when the days of their arrival are finished, the project, the licensees and government should be able to indicate when the first oil should be completed during the later part of this year.
The remarks were made during his visit to the Tilenga project in Bulisa district.
And finally, a look at some of the major stories making headlines beyond Uganda. A landslide at a landfill in Guinea's capital has killed about 30 people. Beyond that, Pope Leo has called for international action over a deadly Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo as New Zealand moves to introduce a bill banning social media use by children under 16. Details do follow.
Residents and rescue workers searched through rubble in Guinea's capital, Conakry, on Sunday after a landslide at a landfill killed about 30 people, with bulldozers clearing debris and volunteers looking for bodies. Mamaduba, a resident who was at home when it happened, said he had heard a loud noise at about 2 a.m. and went outside with relatives to see what was happening before a second wave of rubbish struck and brought down the house. The landslide occurred at the Dar es Salaam landfill in the Besia commune of Conakry after heavy rains, destroying several homes and leaving around 30 dead and 22 injured, according to the Guinea's emergency authorities. Bodies were taken to Donka Hospital as rescue operations continued at the site. Guinea's Minister of Territorial Administration, Jenab Toure, announced on Thursday that the government was closing the landfill because of the danger it posed, especially during the ongoing rainy season, and said the waste was to be relocated outside Conakry. Elsewhere, Pope Leo on Sunday called for international action to help contain the impact of an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which has so far claimed more than 2,500 lives. The outbreak has been spreading rapidly across a vast area of the Central African country and is causing a record number of infections and deaths, according to the United Nations officials. Congo's 17th Ebola epidemic became the biggest in the country's history in terms of confirmed cases in late July, surpassing the previous record outbreak from 2018 to 2020. And finally, New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon said on Monday his party will introduce a bill in Parliament that seeks to ban children under 16 from using social media. The bill would require social media platforms to take reasonable steps to verify users' ages, including by utilizing existing account information, facial technology, and digital identity documents. It was not immediately clear if the bill would garner sufficient support to pass through Parliament, with one of Luxon's coalition partners, the New Zealand First Party, saying it would not support it. In December, Australia became the first world country to ban social media for children under 16, blocking them from platforms including TikTok, Alphabet's YouTube, and Meta's Instagram and Facebook.
It is not always a safe place for our young people to be.
Looking at the weather in the forthcoming days, communities in flood and landslide-prone areas should follow local meteorological advisories and prepare for possible heavy rainfall. This is in the coming months. Otherwise, a full detailed report is coming through with our weather forecast. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching NTV at 1. I am Priscilla Regina Narwoga. Have an impactful